Hey, Coach. I'm so happy you found us on YouTube. Very excited about that. Let me know how I can help in any way. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you share it. We like those thumbs up. All those things really help on YouTube. If you're looking for greater details, you're looking for more stuff, you want to put some of these pictures on the wall, let me help you. Come over and join us at teachhoops.com. 14-day free trial while they last. And enjoy.
All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. For the people who are watching here, I'm going to put you side to side here so we can see each other, Coach. Welcome. I'm not sure what episode we're going to be on by the time Coach gets on here, but Coach Carter, I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Great movie, first of all, Coach Carter. I'm sure you get reference to that a lot.
That's the starting point. Yep.
I'm sure it's we didn't talk about that in our pre-interview, but anyway, I'm gonna have him introduce. So here's what I do, Coach, is I have the coach kind of just explain to the listeners your kind of basketball journey.
Okay.
So what I mean is kind of, you can even go back to your playing days. The person I was talking to last night talked about their playing days, but kind of how you got into this great game, and then what you've been doing, and then how we kind of got to the point where we're sitting where we are talking hoops right now. So I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Hey, thank you, Coach. Thank you, Steve. Follow your Twitter account. That's how we got connected. Always great content on there. I'm retweeting and reading all the things you share.
Yeah, I put whenever I want to get things, and this is funny, whenever I want to get things moving, I just put up, should there be a high school shot clock? Send.
Oh, that's good. I think that's how we first started.
Yeah, people it's there's no middle ground. Nobody has a middle ground on it. Like everybody has to pick a side, basically.
Absolutely. And it's funny that the shot clock is, that item for discussion, because I'm from Princeton. I grew up in Princeton. And so obviously watching Princeton basketball, which they ran out the shot clock, right? Every possession, they would shoot maybe 2 seconds on there. And if you're a basketball fan, you might remember Princeton versus Georgetown.
I do.
And I was a kid watching that, Patrick Ewing almost going down to these Ivy League guys, and you're an Ivy League guy yourself.
I do. I remember. I think I don't remember who they lost to in the finals, but do you remember when Ewing blocked all those shots to start the?
Oh my gosh, it was like a flag.
It was like he was told to goaltend, like he was just go out and goaltend. I think it might have been North Carolina. I think it might have been Michaels. I don't remember, but
he did that a lot.
He did. It was intimidating.
It's funny you say that, because my sons are they're finishing their homework, and they're 9 and 10, and they're just kind of like on their phones and like playing video games. So I gave them an assignment 2 days ago, and I said, okay, I have a big book of college basketball, and I have a big book of NBA top 50 players. And I said, you have to write about 2 different players every day. And so my one son, he's like Steph Curry and Michael Jordan. And then my other son wrote about Patrick Ewing. And he's fascinated by the big guys. He's like Hakeem Olajuwon, Lou Alcindor. He changed his name. And so I got him doing a little bit of basketball history.
That's good, though. And the thing is, I think it will be interesting to have the discussion with them, especially as they get a little bit older, about how the game's changed. Like the days of, I think Shaq would still play in today's game, but the big guy, like is different. It's different now. The game's different.
Well, the big guy is, like you talked about, Giannis. He can play on the perimeter.
Right.
And just imagine if like those guys were developed like that. If Bill Russell could shoot the 3.
Right. It's like Magic Johnson. Like he was the beginning of it. But go ahead, Coach. I don't mean to get us off.
No, this is great. This is great. So I grew up in Princeton, and watching that Princeton offense, and going to those camps. And lucky for me, I had really great coach, Doug Snyder, and he used to run clinics. And even our rec league was on Princeton University campus. And so he taught us all the fundamentals, and backdoor passes, chest passes and bank shots. And so By the time I got to high school, I had some players that are really good in front of me. 3,000 point scorers on the same team, which was unheard of in our high school, coming from a Group 2 school at the time.
And what does Group 2 mean? What does that mean?
Group 2 is like 1,600. So I guess at that
That's
time,
not the biggest. That's not the biggest.
No, it's one of the smallest. So Group 1, yeah, Group 1. So other places, other states, 1 will be the biggest.
Yeah.
But New Jersey, 4 was the biggest. Group 4 means you're about.
It's so hard to keep track. Like 1 is the biggest in ours, and 5 is the smallest. It's like,
yeah,
I wish they'd uniform that. I wish
I know.
it's so hard when I talk to coaches. It's like they say, I'm AAA. I go, well, what does that mean? Like,
Exactly.
I don't know what that means. Are you a big school or a small school?
Yeah. But we were Group 2. I want to say maybe 1,200. I think we're up to about 1,800 now.
Okay.
We are teetering on that Group 4, Group 3, Group 4. But at the time, we had 3,000 point scores and basketball. Like we talk about, I was younger, so I was a freshman and sophomore, and we would like have to sneak in to our varsity games because the games would be packed.
Right.
And from that point on,
you got the bug. You got the bug bad. Then I remember. Yeah,
you got the bug. Me and my buddy Shahid, he's a cop now in Princeton. When I see him every now and again at the coffee shop, and we usually revert back to, remember being on JV, and the coach would give us a speech after the game. We'd be like, "Yeah, coach, yeah, we got to get it. We got to get a seat."
Stop talking.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, stop talking. Okay, we got to get upstairs and watch the game, the real game. So yeah, I played basketball. I'm 5'10" for the people listening. So I was a guard, but basketball wasn't in my foreseeable future to play at the next level unless I was going to be really, really good. And I went on to play football at Rowan University, and lucky for me, we went to the D3 national championship against.
What position did you play?
Cornerback. But we played against.
That was gonna be my. If you're 5'10", that was gonna be my guess. You were gonna be that. Yeah.
I was a DB, cornerback, and played on the special teams. But there's a good Wisconsin D3 football school, a couple of them. I think Wisconsin. Oshkosh. They're actually good in soccer too. So
Whitewater,
yes, yeah. Those schools were really good, especially this is 97, 98. And so I have a really unique story because I went and played football for 2 years, and then my parents were getting divorced, and I was thinking about leaving school. I took a year off, and then when I went back,
how did the year off go? Did it make you a better student when you came back? Again, selfishly asking, because the discussion we had before.
It did. It's funny when you're an athlete and you're training and you have that team connection, and I guess sort of say you have an identity.
Right.
You have that identity as an athlete, as a football. He plays football, and then you stop doing that, and you kind of have to reinvent yourself. And so you reinvent yourself as a student, or maybe you find a job. I was working actually landscaping, to make money, and it made me a way better student.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I can rake leaves and cut grass, or I can write papers.
No. So the reason I asked the question for people who are listening is we're talking in our house right now. We're talking about whether my son's going to take a gap year because he's a freshman. He just graduated, so he's going to be a freshman in college. And it's like, I told his mom, I said, he takes a gap year and he works at McDonald's. Trust me, he's going to find out he doesn't want to work at McDonald's for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
And he's got opportunity. So it's like, that's not a bad thing. Like, that's hard work. Those roofers and landscapers work.
Absolutely.
Don't be a roofer. I helped a friend put a roof on once.
Oh my
I think my back still hurt. I don't know how those guys, and they carry those shingles up on there. I don't know how they do it. I mean, they don't,
when you're up there, there's no shade, right? The roof.
There's no shade. It's hot, and if you've ever watched a roofer, they earn every cent of the money they make because they're carrying that. That's like a 50-pound thing on their shoulders as they're going up a ladder.
Going up a ladder.
Yeah. At
No,
least you have some shade landscaping.
Well, I had a job close to roofing. I worked for a pool company, and this is 98, 99. So I played football for 2 years, so 99. And that summer was a drought, all right? And so the ground was like concrete, and I had just a shovel. We didn't have all these fancy tools. I had a shovel and a pickaxe, and my job was to dig a 6-foot ditch every day for a hot tub or jacuzzi next to the pool. Just me. I made the dean's list when I went back to school.
I bet you did. Oh my God. Did you okay, so it has nothing to do with basketball, but it does have to do with basketball because did you have a plan? Like, was there did you start in the middle, work out? Did you try to did you try to make the ground moist? I mean, I can't imagine how hard that ground was if it was a drought.
Yeah. We would get the hose and put the water out there. But again, when you're working as a landscaping company and so forth, you never know where the house guests, where their water, where their hose, where their tools are. So you don't want to go into their garage, right? So it's not outside, waiting for you to use. And a lot of times, people that have pools also work a lot, so they're not home. So we don't want to go and use their stuff without their permission.
Right.
So my boss would be like, no, don't use it, don't touch it, we don't want to be responsible saying, their guy went into the garage, grabbed the hose. So a lot of times it was just straight shovel.
Horrible. Okay, so after that, so you went back to school then after the year off.
Went back to school, and then I walked onto the soccer team. So so this journey is going. We got some
zigzagging.
Yeah, definitely got some zigzagging. Walked onto the soccer team and actually went to the national championship in 2000.
Soccer's a tough gig, man. I'm telling you, my soccer players come more beat up than my football players sometimes in the basketball season.
Yeah,
no pads.
There's no pads, and it's a cheap shot sport. You're just waiting. You're waiting for the opportunity.
So I'm sorry for all the soccer coaches out there, but it's like, first of all, they all take acting classes because every time they get close to them, they flop like you freaking you'd think they got shot on the. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
Watch World Cup.
We had a couple of Italians, so we went to national championship. So we had a lot of foreign players. We had a guy from Chile. We had 2 guys from Norway, Czechoslovakia, and our Italians. We would say, "Oh, coach, that's not a foul. He's Italian. Those guys are the best actors." However, we went to once I graduated, I came back home, and I got a job right out of school, and I started coaching the freshman basketball team. So this was 2005. So we're getting to the basketball journey. And that is the same year that the movie Coach Carter came out.
Right. Oh, it did?
Yes. So that was big shoes for me to fill. So everyone's like, "Oh, they're making a movie about you, And I hadn't coached, a period yet. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope this movie isn't bad. And so I hear Samuel Jackson's going to be playing the lead character. So I'm like, all right, that's good. Samuel Jackson's going to be playing Coach Carter. And I go to see the movie, and I thought it was amazing. Right? What'd you think of Coach Carter, the movie?
I liked it. It was good. It's in my top 10, probably top 15 of basketball.
What can we talk about your, top 3?
Well, I like, I'd have to look at my list recently, but obviously Hoosiers is up there for me. Hoop Dreams is up there for me.
Hoop Dreams actually had a clip in Princeton.
It did. It's on Netflix right now, I think. It's on Netflix if people want to watch it.
When they had Juwan Howard and some of those guys when they went to the Princeton camp. So I used to go up there and watch those guys. me and my dad. And I used to, John Thompson, Raleigh Massimino, Coach K, all those guys, I used to get all their autographs when that camp came to Princeton.
Yeah, I like that. I like Space Jams. I think that's a
Okay.
classic.
Mhm.
There's so many good basketball ones. The best sports movie of all time is Caddyshack.
I
That's
was
the
wondering where
best.
you were going with that.
That's the best sports movie of all time. Probably the most quoted sports movie of all time is Caddyshack. But I love
That's a
Caddyshack.
good one.
It's not really a sports movie, but it kind of is because it's
I
about.
have to revisit that.
Yeah.
So veering back, my first season coach, I was coaching freshman basketball, and I had a 6'8" freshman. He was still a little wet behind the ears, but could block, all the shots. I had a really crafty point guard, and then I just had a absolute scorer. I mean, he was just a terror. So I had a lot of good pieces, and at one point we were 15-1, and I was coming off the movie Coach Carter, and so I did a lot of those things. Actually, you do see in the movies, the fundamental drills, footwork, and I took my lessons from playing football and playing in that national championship, and also the things that we did well for the soccer national championship. So I took lessons from football, I took lessons from soccer, and I tried to just mold them together in basketball. And so, team camaraderie. I'm a big team building guy. So we do a lot of times, in the winter, a lot of people are fighting for gym space. And so,
And there's no easy solution to the gym space issue, because if you build gym space, it just sits there empty while kids are at school. That's the problem.
That's true.
So the financial part of it doesn't work for the companies that want to build gym space, because kids are in school from 8 to 4, so it sits there empty during the middle of the day, and then that's the problem with those gyms.
Yep. So one of the things that I kind of pride myself on was not wasting any time and not wasting any space. And so my guys know that depending on the schedule, depending on the calendar, if it was day before a game, all right, we would find a VCR and a TV. VCR back in the day, right? So we would go into the cafeteria and watch film for 45 minutes if the cheerleading squad was going to be in the gym, or varsity team wanted to get an early practice. We would do sprints in the hallways. Right? A lot of times the principal's like, "Well, Carter, what are you doing here? You got kids running all over the school." "Oh, we're just getting a little cardio, coach." Right. Just get a little cardio, sir. Push-ups. We do fitness, and I got a lot of that from Bobby Hurley. That's actually another good movie. The Street Stops Here. Have you seen that?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Okay. So yeah,
what's the name of that?
The Street Stops Here. And it's about, him taking just a really small school, St. Anthony's. And I mean, they would work out in like a closet.
Right.
Guys are like doing bench press, like on a table, like no bench, and a half a gym. And if you read up on John Wooden, same thing with the old UCLA teams, right? They would play in like YMCA. They didn't have like a spectacular stadium that they trained in, and so and I had to get the kids to buy into that, because Princeton, I don't know if you know our demographics. There's a big spectrum. So we were actually in the New York Times as one of the top schools for the achievement gap. So that's not something to brag about, right?
Right.
Kids that are without low income families, and then obviously high income families that would go to the same school, and kids would go to Dartmouth and Harvard and Princeton, and certain kids would end up in jail by the time before they graduated. And I had these kids on my team.
Right. The wide range.
Actually, on my middle school team, this past winter, there was a kid who couldn't afford a tie. There were kids I bought shoes for. And at the same time, there's a kid with a basketball court in his house.
Right. Yeah.
These guys on the same team.
That's a societal problem. I don't think we can solve on a podcast.
Yeah.
But yes.
I know, but it's unique to our district.
Right.
Because, you know, certain communities, a lot of times you have the same resources.
Right. So what do you think the solution to that is?
Oh man, how long is this podcast going to go? Well, I think our superintendent did a good job of at least addressing that we have an equity issue. And so, you know, equity not meaning equality.
Right.
You know, we will give you the resources that you need for you to be successful.
Right. Accessibility. That's what we're noticing right now with online learning too. It's not, it's not. You just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to learn. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they don't.
And I was, you know, I would say we're okay, right? We're school teachers, so we're okay.
Right.
But I have a laptop. My wife has a laptop, and now we have to share that between 5 people because my 3 kids all have to be on their laptops. They have to be, right? They have classes, Zoom meetings. They have to write, you know, their projects. And so how can I grade papers and then still do their homework? So we had to be on a tight schedule with our 3 devices. And I'm glad that I was actually even able to Zoom in under my address, because sometimes my name doesn't work. I'm like, people are like, hey, coach, it says Jasmine.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
So explain what you're doing now, and we can talk about the building a program and stuff. I'd love to do that.
Okay. So right now I took the middle school position to 7th and 8th graders. I'm the middle school gym teacher. Prior to that, I was the varsity coach in our district for 5 years.
Okay.
And then I was a assistant for the College of New Jersey, Division III, which was actually my rival school when I went to college. I went to Rowan University and TCNJ. They're big time rivals, both state schools. And I also did a year at the Pennington School where I am the head varsity coach.
Okay.
I'm sorry, head varsity lacrosse coach. So I coach lacrosse in the spring, and I'm coaching middle school hoops in the winter. And I just started AAU basketball team with 2 teams. So both my sons play, and so I have a full 4th grade team and a full 5th grade team. So I'm training them on the side. We are called the Born Ready Ballers. So Born Ready.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
All right.
That's
it has
a good
little
name.
ring to it. You like that?
We'll put a link in the. We'll put a link in the show notes. Okay.
Okay.
I like that. All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So you wanted to talk a little bit about building a program.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So how was the transition from the varsity coach to middle school? How was that transition working?
We did well. We finished 8-7, which, you know, anytime you are over 500, you know, I think is a good sign. But prior to me being the head coach, they hadn't won a single game. And the 8th graders, some of the 8th graders played from 6th, 7th, and 8th. They'd only won 2 games going into their 8th grade year.
Okay.
So they won 2 grades.
And there's something to be said for if you can't win. You know, winning is a habit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, winning is definitely a habit.
I think Bill Walsh said, the score takes care of itself, right? The score takes care of itself. And so just trying to build the right mentality and building the right culture.
Okay.
So when I'm building a program, that's one of the things that I want to establish is culture. So what is culture? Culture is standards. Culture is expectations. Culture is how we work, you know, coming on time, our attention to the details, you know, our shirts are tucked in, you know, we go out, we get a drink. We're hustling, go get a drink. We're not having side conversations.
Right.
When coach is explaining, or you're on the side of it, on the of a drill, that's what we call a mental rep. So just because you're not in the drill doesn't mean that you can't gain anything from the drill. And one of the things I say over and over, just because I'm not talking to you does not mean I'm not talking to you.
Right.
I don't want to have to keep repeating myself over the same mistake. All right, the guy's going under the screen over a shooter, right?
Right. So what do you think the biggest difference between those two levels is? I personally know what I think the difference is, but what do you think the biggest difference between?
It's maturity for one, right?
Yeah, that's an obvious
one. High school's a doozy too.
Right.
So I think, the obvious ones, maturity and physicality, understanding. They just don't, middle school, they don't have just the fundamental skills. And so just trying to teach them, proper bounce pass, or, chest pass and boxing.
I refer to middle schoolers like the dog from Up that would always go squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. It's like you got to keep them. You got to keep them moving.
Yeah, absolutely. See, it's funny because, and my practices and is something that people have, said to me. It's not that I say about myself, is that they don't have a chance to be distracted.
Right.
And that is good and bad. I don't put in like a set offense, especially in that middle school or lower level. Like I said, I'm teaching 4th and 5th grade. I don't put set offense in, and I rarely practice like plays because they don't remember.
No.
They don't remember, right?
That's
so I
they
just put a half hour.
Yeah,
I spent a half hour on this play, and after a half hour of going over and over and over again, they finally got it. They finally got it on Friday night. And then Saturday morning, less than 12 hours, I'm like, all right, run box. Huh? What? Wait, huh? So, all right, get open. Someone set a screen. So a lot of times I'll try to simplify it with the concept. Okay. Motion. What does motion mean? Motion means move. Okay. Now, in motion, we want to get the ball on one side of the court. All right. We want to clear through or set a screen away. And then we want to get the ball to the other side of the court, and then we can look to attack. All right. Before we jump shot, unless you're wide open, we want to get our feet in the paint. All right. Once we get our feet in the paint, that means we penetrated. Now we can dish. Now we can kick. Now we can get the offense going. So just a couple rules, and again, it's we adapt.
Simple is better at that age, would I be my guess?
I think simple is better at all ages,
right?
At all levels, except for you got guys like Tom Izzo who has like 74 different plays. Right?
Tom Crean's worse. Yeah, Tom Crean has like 8 billion. All right, so going back to building a program, so you talked about some of the key pillars. What else?
I think one, teaching is about relationships, right? And so one thing I did before I got, and I'm the gym teacher there, so I know the guys and I see them all the time. And I took the morning basketball program. So every day, 5 days a week, I open the gym, and I get there early, and I pride myself. That's one of the first things I do for my job. And I'm just like, well, what a great life that I wake up in the morning after I get my kids to school, and there's kids waiting in the hallway, waiting at 7:40. School does not start to really about 8:30. I think they call homeroom at 8:20. So it's about 10 minutes. And they can't wait, Steve. And it's like, oh man, I remember.
But you got them though. That's the thing, that's what people don't understand, is you got them. Like, you've hooked them. Like, it's like giving that kid that first book and they get hooked on it and then they want to read more. It's the same thing here. You got them. Now they're going to listen to you. Like, once you hook them.
And listen. And the way I run the morning basketball is I'll come in and I'll play music, and we have 2 full courts.
Okay.
And it's a we do like a little bit of a tournament. So if you get in early, you go to the full court, and you can play full court as long as people are not waiting. And so I allow them to play anywhere from 3-on-3, 4-on-4 to 5-on-5. And so usually
I'm a big believer at that age to play a lot more 3-on-3.
I love 3-on-3.
I do too. If you got enough baskets, it's the best game ever.
Yes,
Because you can't hide. You got to work. You know,
Yeah.
5-on-5, I could. So I always use this analogy. I could be on. You put 4 of the Bucks out there, and then me. Seriously, they could cover me. The 4 of them could cover the other 5 guys, and I would just have to. I mean, I'm just saying you can hide. Like I always tell coaches, like in tryouts and stuff, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, because everyone's got to do everything when you're that small. Hopefully that's what I'm hoping will come out of one of the things that will come out of this pandemic is kids won't be able to play 5-on-5. They're going to have to play because the groups are going to be smaller that they're going to be able to get together. So maybe they can play 2-on-2. Great. It's going to help their games, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny you said it because I did a charity event to raise money for one of the soup kitchens in the area, and we call it the Hunger Games. And we bring money in, and we try to get creative in Princeton. So and we had them in different districts, right? So we played off the Hunger Games, and it's a 3-on-3 tournament. And so you play 3-on-3, but you can have up to 5 guys on your team.
And do you have rules about substitutions and stuff like that, or anything?
They sub themselves, and they realize that like, oh, we got 5 on our team. And they realize, okay, well, 2 of you guys are not going to be playing the whole time, right? So the 8th graders, the 6th graders always come in because they all want their friends to be together. So they have 5 on the team, but the 8th graders realize like, all right, listen, it's just us 3. This is our team. We're going to play the whole time. And if you have a district player, that's someone who made the team, someone who made the JW basketball team. Our middle school is called John Witherspoon. And you can only have 2 district players, or you can get an adult or staff member. So it's a full school event.
I love that.
Played in it, yeah. And so.
And how was that good? Was it a good fundraiser?
Oh, it's great. It's great. And we didn't get a chance to get it in because of COVID. We were going to run it in the spring. But, first day of school, kids are there, 7:40. I'm opening the gym. Coach, what date is Hunger Games? I'm like, all right, listen, I haven't even.
I always tell people Hunger Games is the epitome of a game. And they go, what do you mean? I go, well, you win or you die.
Exactly. No in between.
There's no in between. It's kind of like when we play Monopoly in our house. You either win or you die. Like it's like one of those things. There's no in between. No one's happy. No one talks to anybody.
There's no one happy at the end of that, right?
Yeah, there's nobody ever happy. So it's like, and they go, well, I never thought. I said, it's a great read, but I said it's Hunger Games. It's like.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great. People are always asking for fundraiser ideas too. Our youth program does a free throw thing. I love that.
Yeah.
Because what makes it good a fundraiser is they're actually doing something they love to do, and you're raising money.
Yep.
Win-win. Like the free throw one, they're working on their free throws, and we're making money. So we do have like a free throw thing. Where the grandparents will say, we'll give you $1 for every free throw you make or whatever.
We've done that before.
Something like that. I love that better than selling cookie dough. I hate that kind of stuff.
We did a push-up-a-thon.
There you go, getting stronger. Yep.
Absolutely.
And that builds programs. Going back to what we were talking about, that builds camaraderie. That builds community,
Yes, I might have got off topic, but
that's okay. Trust me. There's a little bit of the dog from Up in me too. It's like squirrel. If it interests me, I want to talk about it. It's all right. No worries.
So coming in and opening that gym at 7:40 and seeing those kids, and they know that if they get there early, they get on that full court. So there's an incentive, right? And not only that, they can get more shots up because you wake up in the morning. Who knows your journey to school, right? You got brother, sister, parents yelling at you. Maybe you finished your homework. You didn't eat breakfast. and then you go in and you try to play and you have to win because it's a tournament format. So let me finish the format. So there's a full court, and I enjoy 3-on-3, but I let the kids play their own game.
Right. Yep.
And that's what keeps them coming, right? They make their own rules, they play their own game, they call their own fouls. The next court is a half court. And so we prefer 3-on-3. And then the other half of that is, I call the basement. So it's the basement. The middle court is just the middle court, and then we have the penthouse. The penthouse
So you should call it like the living room or something. It's the basement, the living room, and the penthouse. Like,
there you go. Yep.
You could put the outhouse in there too, because my dad always said you're either in the penthouse or the outhouse. There doesn't tend to be much of it when you're a coach, you know.
I started with the outhouse, and then the parents, you put my kid in the outhouse.
I like the basement though. It's like you know what it is. It builds like the premise of, you know, you got to build a foundation before you build a house. You got to pour the cement, blah blah blah. It's like all that it's all kind of. I love that. It's all kind of.
I love how you grasp it, because sometimes you can tell you're a basketball junkie. You love this stuff.
I do love this stuff. Too much sometimes. As it says back here, what does it say? I think we interrupt this marriage to bring you basketball season. My wife would go, there's no interruption. It's just a constant interruption. What is she talking about?
Awesome. So I had a year and a half of watching these kids grow. And middle school, they grow. I'm like, this kid was, 4'2", and now he's taller than me in a year, right? They grow 5-6 inches sometimes. And then I give them tidbits. And me being the varsity coach before, and we actually had some really good teams. We went to a sectional final, and we won 4 division titles in 5 years. So when I came to the middle school, they were like, oh my God, Coach Carter's here.
Right.
And
like, why did you leave the high school to go to the middle school?
I don't know if we have enough time for that story.
Okay. Was it a choice, or was it not a choice?
It was not my choice.
Okay.
And the administration were not seeing eye to eye. I wanted, when I took over the program, they had not been to the playoffs in 15 years.
Right.
And they hadn't won.
Right.
In my first year, we made the playoffs. My second year, we went to a sectional final. And the next, 4 years, we won the division title.
Right.
4 division titles. And we were gaining a lot of attention. And I don't think they wanted that. And in basketball, especially in Princeton, basketball, it's late. Games are at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Right.
And, that brings in a lot of excitement, a lot of commotion. Our stands were packed.
Right.
And it brought in more trouble. They were like, we were better when our team wasn't good.
Right. And yeah, I get that. I
know?
I didn't know if it was family based too, because you have a young family. It's hard to balance.
It actually worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Because I have a clip of my wife dragging both my sons and carrying one of those baby strollers on video, and she's just like, "Are you ever going to help me with my 2 sons, 9 and 10, are 13 months apart, and I was doing this while I was coaching hoops."
Right. It's hard. That balance is hard.
So in the end, it was the best thing for me.
Yeah, it's a good balance. All right, so let's keep going. So anything else you want to share as far as building a program and stuff?
Well, coming to the middle school, so I had that
morning thing.
Yeah, I had the morning thing, and I guess I had the credibility from the kids, and I would give them little tidbits. I said, hey, I've been watching you, and instead of taking that 12-foot shot fake, just do a shot fake, and you can take a layup, and the other big comes in, go underneath, up and under, do a reverse layup, or you can also pass it, So instead of selling for the shot, and then the kid would do it, like, hey, coach, that worked. That really worked, And so word would get around, and I would just give them, a little bit of advice, but not that much, because for me, at that age, I think you learn by doing. I think probably you learn by doing it at any age.
Right.
So what I did was I started to gain their trust in that morning thing. So I don't want to carry too long, but I gained their trust. I developed a relationship, and I established myself as credible.
Right.
And I think when you're building a program.
Hey, Coach, hope you're enjoying the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. If you're looking to take your coaching to the next level, let me help you put some state championship balls into your showcase. Go over and check us out at teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. All right, let's head back to the video.
Lucky for me, I had those opportunities. I think those are three things that you must have if you are going to build a program. You got to have good communication and build those relationships. You got to have trust, and they have to believe in you.
They do. They do. The more and more I talked about coaches about this, it's like, if you're going to convince them to go to storm Normandy, you got to convince them that it's a cause that's worth fighting for. And it's similar. I'm not comparing basketball to D-Day, but I am kind of. But it's but it's similar in the sense that if you want them to storm the beach, they have to be wanting to fight for you. And it's the only way they're going to do that is they love you, and there's that relationship, and that's an underlying toe that over the last month and a half that I've seen, and I've always thought this anyway, that it's about relationship building. It's it is.
But I had to learn that. I had to learn that through trial and error, because that was not the way I was coached.
No, and the thing is, when you're young, you tend to think it's more about the X's and O's, and can I run this specific offense and that kind of stuff. And I've said this on a couple podcasts this month. It's like I used to think it was 80-20, 80%, coaching and 20%, relationships. I think it's the other way.
Yeah.
I think it's 20% the X's and O's.
I agree.
And then it's 80% of, do they believe what you're selling them? Because if they don't believe what you're selling them, it doesn't matter. Because you're not going to win the big one. You might win, but you're not going to win the ones you need to win.
I agree. And that 80%, are they going to stay late? Are they going to come early?
Right.
Are they going to work on their own? Are they going to study film when you're not around? And if that's only 20%, yeah, you're right. They're not going to put the extra effort in.
They're not.
Because every coach has the 2-hour slot. And that's what I try to explain. What separates myself from other coaches is that, everyone has that 2-hour slot. Everyone has 22 games.
Right.
Okay? But out of the 365 days, how many days are your guys touching the basketball? Right? Outside of the season. How many times are you guys studying tape outside of practice? How many miles are you guys running to get in shape before preseason? Right? Those are the really good coaches that get those guys to do that.
It's that little bit extra. Yeah. I agree.
And you can't, obviously, you're a coach, you would tell them to do it. But that's not your job there. Your job is to influence them and encourage them.
Championships aren't won in those 2 hours. They're contained in that 2 hours, but they're won like right now, like at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Yep.
Someone's doing something. That's when they're won because no one's watching.
Yep.
So
to build off of that, I think to have parent support. So maybe a couple good dads that have been around the game. Maybe they'll take a team and play fall ball, and trusting them,
right.
and being able to communicate. Say, hey, listen, I know you went to Dartmouth and you ran the wheel, but
right.
I'm comfortable running the flex. So,
right. And this is something for the young coaches too. Don't get caught up too much on the summer. I mean, the correlation, and this is the stats teacher. I mean, the correlation between what you do in July and the specific offense you run and what happens in January, they're not that closely related.
I agree.
To be honest with you. People worry way too much about that stuff.
I agree.
Are they playing hard and are they listening?
And do they like each other?
Yeah. That's more than if you run the offense exactly right. Trust me, you're throwing them on a tournament. They're going playing 4 games in a weekend. Yeah, people put too much stock in that, in my opinion. Way too much stock in it.
I agree.
Yeah. Because the correlation, they forget it. Like by August, they're thinking about their girlfriend. They're not thinking about playing in July, kind of thing.
I know. I know. And just to get them to play when it's hot.
Yeah.
And One of the things you speak of, July, one of the things that we did that was unique that they don't do anymore is I had my varsity guys or guys that were going to play varsity. A lot of times those guys played JV. I had them in the men's league, in the summer men's league in our town that my coach,
That's a good idea.
Doug Snyder, started. And we would win one game. And we were like, all right, listen, we have to win one game. And the men, they knew, they're like, all right, this high school team, they're not good, but they usually win one game, and please don't let that be against us.
Right.
One game we'll come out and we'll make some shots. You know how it is.
Yeah. I'm not going to be showed up. Yeah, I don't want to be showing up. Yeah.
But what I liked about having the young guys in the men's league and the moms were against it. It was like, oh my gosh, my 15-year-old son is going against, he's 6'8". He played. I mean, sometimes we play against guys that played in college.
Right. And they're men. Like
they're men.
They're men. That's the difference. Yeah.
But the young college guys sometimes, because they're trying to get after it. They don't get it sometimes. I'm like, all right, this is a kid. He's just trying to learn. Like, you don't have to throw an elbow in his chest. Oh, that's what they did. Yeah.
I'm gonna teach him how to be a better human being. And it's like, all right, you're really not. That's so true.
But that's how I learned. That's how I grew up.
No, I did too. It's like I mean, I'm in Madison, and it's like I'd go down to the UW, and you get your crud beat out of you by some, guys that used to be good, but now they're 2 steps slow, kind of thing. Yeah.
We used to have a game called Lowest Gets Snuck.
Okay.
It was every man for himself up to 35, so kind of like 21 or Oklahoma. You ever play that?
Yep.
And if you had the lowest score, everyone was allowed to punch you in the chest.
Not sure that would work now. Yeah.
These are your friends, by the way.
Yes. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been studies showing that if kids go to a playground and play, they'll even the teams out because they want it to be competitive.
Really?
Like,
that's good to know.
Yeah. If you send like 10 kids, there's been studies, educational studies that's the problem with parents over scheduling right now and doing everything for them. Like, it was like a whole sandlot baseball thing and basketball in the sense that, so let's say you put 10 kids on a court and say, go play. They're going to try to balance it because they don't want to put all the 5 good ones on one team in the bat because they know who's relatively good and who's not.
You haven't seen my morning basketball club.
Because it's no fun if you win every game by a lot. After a while, it becomes boring.
Well, yeah. I agree. I agree on the theory. But in the morning basketball, my little program.
Is it the king of the court, though?
Yes.
See, that's the problem. Let's say if it's not king of the court's different in the sense that if you win, you get to keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to stack it. But if it's like if you just put 10 kids on that court and you said go play for an hour, they would balance it out because for an hour they're going to play. They don't want to win every game for the next hour. That's no fun. Yeah. That's not competitive. But king of the court's different in the sense that I want the best team because I want to keep playing. Yeah. So there's this that was part of it.
I've actually seen that study. It's when the challenge is either too high or the challenge is too low.
Right. Yeah.
There's no flow.
Yeah, like a kid can't hit a curveball. Well, they're gonna do something like he gets extra pitches, and because they want the game to keep moving. Otherwise, it's not enjoyable for him. You stop playing then and do something else. Yeah. All right, Coach, keep going, Coach. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, this is great. This is awesome. I've missed this because there's no sports.
Right.
The only thing I've watched is The Last Dance. Have you been watching that?
I have. I'm a couple behind though, so
okay. I'm not going to ruin it.
Don't ruin it. Don't say. I mean, I've lived it, but don't ruin it. Yeah.
I'm glad that my kids are getting able to get a glimpse. I was like, I don't think you guys.
A glimpse of his greatness is what I'm telling people. Yes, people don't have any sense of how good he really was. They just know his shoes are cool. Yeah.
And how good Rodman was.
Yeah, Rodman he found a niche. He found a role. That was the key with him.
And so I guess that brings me to the next thing of building a program. So one, I don't like to waste time. I don't like to waste our space, when we're training in season. Try to establish relationships, try to build trust in the players and in the families as well. They have to know that I mean well.
Right.
And I've gotten better at that. And because I have my own kids, and I'm like, listen, I get it. Yeah, he's not, I need him to be at practice on time. And if he's not doing things right, I'm going to be on him. And guess what? He's going to start picking up his shoes, and he's going to start cleaning
At home. Yeah.
at home. All right. And so when he says, yes, coach, or yes, sir, or whatever, he's going to say, yes, dad. Wouldn't that be nice? And they're like, ooh.
Ooh, that would be nice. Yeah.
So, this is not just for me, because he's going to go home and, oh, Coach Carr doesn't like me. Listen, I love you. That's why, that's why I'm putting this effort in to try to help you. And guess what? Some coach did that for me as well.
Right. And that's, yeah. And the thing is, you got to try to, what I tell them, you got to try to get the parents as allies too. I think sometimes young coaches think these parents are like, I mean, it's easier to over communicate and get them as an ally than try to not, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, the game has changed so much where the parents, they're so specialized, because it sounds like you and I may have grown up playing everything. Is that right?
I did.
You just have that vibe that, you talked about baseball and basketball. And as you know, I played football and soccer, I coached lacrosse. So just grew up playing everything, you look
which made you a better competitor, which I think part of what we're losing right now, to be honest with you, it made you a better competitor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And problem solver, just figure it out. What was I getting at? I lost my train.
That's okay. No, we were talking about like playing multiple sports.
Yes. And being specialized. Thank you for bringing me back.
Yep.
And these parents, they're like, oh, well, Johnny, he plays in this league and he plays against this player and he plays full time. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably not the best for him.
Right.
It's probably not the best for Johnny to be playing basketball year round. And then, I don't know who's coaching him. I don't know, who he's playing against, but he's a little bit behind on some of the concepts versus this other kid who only plays basketball during the season, but he plays, high level soccer, plays high level baseball, and he goes to tournaments all over this, all over the state in the summer, playing all three.
Right.
And then he comes in the season and he's like, hey, coach, I'm a little rusty, but he understands how to dissect the 3-on-2. He understands how to help the helper, right? Fill the gap. He understands when the timing of a pass. And so, Steve Nash calls that physical literacy. And so try to develop physical literacy where they can understand. You like that term?
I do like that term.
Yeah, I throw that around when I can. And he says that there's a specific age in which I guess 6 to 7 is when they can start really getting developed, and then to about 12 years old. So that's where I'm at now, about middle school. And if you can do like 10 things, if you can do these 10 things, now you're going to be ready to be a really good competitor, and no matter what you're doing. So football, basketball, all these different sports, they have these certain situations, right? A 1-on-1, a 2-on-1, a 3-on-2, a 4-on-2. You're going on a fast break with a trail, right? Or someone's coming in on an angle. And so reading the angles and reading the play. And so you only get that by multiple reps, and also, different sports. I'm a firm believer in that.
I am, and the studies have shown, especially at the young, like your kid's age right now, they should play multiple sports. It's an injury prevention thing, and it's also a, motor skill thing.
That's what I mean by the physical literacy, the motor skill.
It's motor skill. It's like people underestimate that motor skill. That and bodies like Giannis and LeBron and stuff are so big too that You know, I think I read somewhere LeBron spends almost $1 million a year on his body.
I believe that.
Yeah.
He's got. I've seen some of his specific training. He's intense.
Yeah, it's crazy in my opinion. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's but I think he does that because he knows he's doing the same things over and over again.
Mhm.
That's the issue. Okay,
Absolutely.
what else, coach, on building a program?
Yeah. So I think you got to have good practices. You know.
Okay, what do you mean by good practices?
So one, we call it Lombardi time. So you're a Wisconsin guy,
Ooh,
so
I know what Lombardi time is.
right, you know Lombardi. So
We
if
call it Lambeau time, or yeah.
Lambo time. So how do you say
Well, it's
Lambo?
15 minutes early because the
All right,
clock's
so
off
take
15.
5 minutes. But go ahead,
Yeah,
15 minutes.
it's 15 minutes. The clock is 15 minutes in
Mhm.
Lambeau.
Yep,
So when I say a meeting's at 4, you're there at 3:45.
yep. So
Yeah, it's
middle
Lambeau
school, we
time.
give them a little bit more of a cushion. We say 5 minutes.
Yep.
So you want to be there 5 minutes early, and if you're early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yep.
so, but again, if you get there early, and a lot of times my guys do, you lace them up. We start doing form shooting, and so I think that is the skill that can't be practiced enough. Right? Shooting.
Right.
Pete Carroll has the quote: "Bad shooters are always open." He won't pass me the ball. I'm open. Yeah, you're open.
You're open for a reason. Yeah, I've used that 1,000 times. There's a reason they're not guarding you because you're horrible. Yes, I've heard Bob Huggins talk about that once. He goes, "You're open because you're bad." You know, yeah. They're
So,
not guarding you. Yeah.
yeah. So I want to make sure that the guys on our team, at least if they leave them open, they can make a shot. So we do form shooting. I get that from Jay Wright. You know, just make sure the hand placement is right on the ball. You know, elbow in and you know, gooseneck flexion, and we actually take it even a step further where we don't want to hit the rim at all. So,
Perfect shots. I call those perfect shots.
Yep. So,
Yep. So yeah, one of our warm-ups with form shooting is perfect shots. You got to get 3 perfect shots where, you know, you're 4 feet, then you're 6 feet, then you're 8 feet. And it's
absolutely.
not hitting the rim. So
Yep.
I don't care if it goes in. I mean,
Yep.
perfect shot. It's like putting. I always use the reference of golf.
Mhm.
Like you're just trying to get your feel for the, you know, the green or
Mhm.
the rims.
Yep.
And that's why we talk about it in terms of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so we'll do that from the middle, and like you said, 4, 6, 8, and then a lot of times we'll do it from different sides. So we'll do form shooting from the side, and then even if we have, like I said, if we have too many guys, so usually I say groups of 3. So you know, 3 guys in front, 3 guys on the side. We have about 3 hoops. We have about, I don't know, on the middle school team about 18 guys. So we can fit those guys on those 3 hoops. You know, a lot of balls flying up at one rim at the same time. Sometimes the balls will hit each other. That happens, right? At least they're getting some reps in. I also have them shoot either at a brick on the wall. All right, you guys were a little bit late. All right, you guys get the wall. Or sometimes I'll have them shoot on the side of the backboard. And so just
the up and down, because you're not talking fan backboards, you're talking rectangular.
Yep, rectangular.
Yeah.
And so just getting some wrist action, just getting some reps in there. And so that's how we start practice. And then we'll usually go for about 20 minutes of some kind of cardio, some type of fitness. And it could be something as like sharks and minnows. Sometimes we'll play tap. And if we didn't play well, then we'll just do some suicides. You know, we'll get them going. And I'm not afraid of that. You know,
Right.
That's the way I was coached. And I also, you know, I have parents and I have other coaches that don't believe in fitness as a punishment and don't believe in, I believe in consequences.
Right.
You know? Like, listen, when you turn the ball over, the other team gets a chance to score.
Right.
There's an immediate effect there. There's a consequence.
Right. It's one thing and then another thing. I know. Yeah.
So when you don't play hard, this is what will happen.
if you don't pay your your tax bill, the tax man's coming to take your house away. Yes,
Absolutely.
or your electric. You don't pay your electric bill, they're going to turn the lights off.
Turn the lights
Right?
on.
There's a consequence eventually. Yes.
Consequences.
Yeah.
And so, but you shouldn't use fitness as a punishment. I do.
Right.
I wouldn't say
it's like anything in life too. There's a bit of moderation with it. If you're always punishing them, then it's not going to work. So I get that.
Absolutely.
I get that.
But my college coach, he gives the speech of, there's people in other parts of the world that don't have this opportunity to run and play. And remember, we're playing a game, we're playing a sport here, right? And then there's other people that have disabilities or anyone who's ever been injured, right? And so remember, when you have a chance to run and have a chance to play, it's a privilege.
Right.
Now, it might be hard, right? You might be gasping for air, but it's a privilege. You get a chance to run, you get a chance to play. So take advantage of it.
Yeah. Don't let your first world problems get in your way.
Exactly.
That's what ticks me off. It's like there's a couple, why? You have a house, you have food, you're healthy. Stop talking it to me. Like there's kids that, especially what's going on in the world right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, So hopefully, I think when kids come back, maybe they'll cherish this more. They'll cherish a lot of things more. I'm hoping.
So just being with their friends, right? Yeah.
I think the relationship building. All right. Anything else before I get to my rapid fire questions, Coach?
Oh, we're gonna do rapid fire. Oh, I'm nervous.
No, it's okay. I got a bunch of questions, but I want to make sure you've gotten everything you want to talk to before I jump in.
Having good practices. One thing I use is Team Snap, the app, and it helps me communicate with the parents. When the games are, what time you should show up, and I think having some of those resources. Again, builds trust in the parents, and they're able to support your message. I tell them right from the beginning, I have a nice little blurb, and I say, listen, I am direct. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Your son's not going to like me all the time. I don't think anyone likes anyone all the time.
Yep.
Right. And so, if your son comes home from practice and, he is not feeling, like, oh, Coach Carter, talk to him about it, and then talk to me about it, but don't jump down my throat. I can't believe you said this to my son. And
my rule is the kid talks to me first, then the kid and the parent talk to me next.
I agree.
I
agree. Yep.
There has to be some sort of communication going on. I agree.
Do you have like a rules or standards thing?
I have a protocol as far as like missing practice and those sort of things. So my theory is if you miss practice for any reason, you either don't start or you don't go in when you normally go in. So no matter what. And I'm not punishing your son or daughter. I'm rewarding the kids that are there because they've missed something. It's like, I'm not going to put them if your son or daughter misses my AP stats class, I'm not going to give them a test right when they come back. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make sure they got everything they need before they take the test. Our test is game day. So your son or daughter was sick with the flu. I feel you, but then they don't, it's not that they're not going to get to play. I'm just not going to start them, or I'm not going to put them in, in the first 4 minutes when I normally do. I'm going to put them in a little bit later because I'm rewarding the kids that are there, that are working, I've had kid miss for funerals.
I'm taking that from you.
What?
I'm stealing that from you. I like it.
Yeah, it's how you word it to the parents. I'm not punishing your child. I'm rewarding the kids that are there, because they've missed something, and it's like, I've had kids miss for tons of reasons, like, and there's a spectrum. Some kids will miss because.
But the funny thing is, are you rewarding them by putting them in the game? The guys that are on the bench, are you rewarding them? Because they're like, we don't really want to play, coach.
Right. Nah, most of them do. And it's like, my sixth man gets a chance. Like, it's the whole, like, Joe DiMaggio thing. I think he had the record of consecutive games because one guy took a day off and then he never gave it up again. So it's like, people get sick, people die, people have things happen. I just don't want you to miss because mom put a dental appointment during my practice. Well, then it's not that important.
That's every day. It's not a priority.
It's not a priority. So I mean, and the thing is, when I first put it in, it was a battle. But it's not. I mean, kids just know now. Like,
it's a part of your culture.
It's a part of the culture. They know if they miss or they're late or something like that. And they get. And then I have a tardiness policy where if the first time they run, the second time we run, third time they sit. So it's
wow. You got some good stuff here.
It's Coach. A hierarchy.
Interviewing you.
It's a hierarchy. Like first time you were late, you run. Okay. Second time you were late, we all run because you shouldn't, And the thing is, it's different. Like I have kids that are on buses coming all over from the city, and there's a snowstorm and they're going to be late. Just call me. That's cool. You're not late. Things happen. I get that.
So you're flexible.
I'm flexible on that. If a kid's driving and they didn't leave early enough, okay, you're late. Then that's that's your problem for not watching the weather forecast and reading my 6 Snapchats I sent you the night before saying it's going to snow, leave early. It's going to snow, leave early. That's your problem. That's not mine at that point. I want you to be safe, but you can't control the bus or you can't control the subway or whatever's coming. Totally get that. You just have to let me know. You have a phone because you live with the phone connected to your hand. So you can text me. You all have my phone number, and that's all I want. I just want them. I'm trying to teach them a life skill.
Absolutely.
It's more than about basketball. It's like you're going to be late to work. Call your boss. Like the boss will probably be okay with it if it doesn't happen very often because things happen. Your kid just threw up on you and you're going to be late to work. Yep. As long as they know and they can cover it, they're going to be okay with it.
Absolutely. So what level do you coach?
I'm a varsity high school boys basketball coach.
Okay. And how's your team?
How is our team like last year or how has our team been? I mean, we've been really good in Wisconsin. I think I think we've won 3 state titles.
Wow.
Been to the state tournament 10 times, I think, in my 20 some years.
Wow.
We've been pretty good.
Any guys go off and play?
Wesley plays for the Bucks right now, Wesley Matthews.
That's your guy?
Yeah, he played for
love him.
Yeah, Wesley's a great guy.
He was in Portland for a little bit.
He was in Portland.
And then he was in
Dallas. Yep.
Yeah,
and then he had a short stint in New York, I think, for like 6 games or 12 games.
Was that right? Yep. He came over with Dennis Jr., right?
Dennis Jr. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Was Wesley Matthews' dad a coach?
Wesley Matthews' dad played for the Badgers and then played for the Lakers. He was Magic's backup.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then Vander played for the Lakers for a little bit. He's in the G League. He's like number 3 scorer all time in the G League. Vander.
So you've had some ballers. You must have a good.
Oh yeah, we've got I've had I don't know, 10, 12 guys play professionally. I think something like that. Yeah, we've had some players. We've been good. I've been very blessed. Very blessed.
And Madison's that's like the city, right?
Yeah, Madison's the capital of Wisconsin. So it's about the metropolitan area. The county is probably about 500,000.
Okay. So are you the biggest school in Madison?
We're the second biggest school in Madison. Madison West is bigger than us, but we're probably in the top 10 in the state. Milwaukee's, don't get me started on Milwaukee. Anyway. It's like the most it's like one of the most segregated cities in the country anyway, or counties or whatever. But anyway, they're breaking up their high schools right now. So they're all their big schools are trying to make them smaller. So they're moving actually down divisions rather than up divisions at this point. So anyway, anything else on building a program? I could talk for 12 hours about building a program, but
I'm interested, man. This is awesome. It's really great to meet you. I'm gonna have to do some homework and research and maybe get some drills from you. I mean, I'm over here bragging about my division titles. You've been in the state tournament 10 times and some state championships. So you're just sitting there.
I'll send you a link. I think our 2011 state championship game was triple overtime. Was one of the best games I've ever seen. I'll send you a link. I'll see if I can find the link. I know it's on YouTube, but I'll find it.
So are you on are you in agreement with some of the things that I'm saying about building a program?
Yes. I would jump in if I wasn't. If anything, I'm opinionated. All right,
Yeah.
let's
Gotta
go through our rapid fire. I've got like 16 pages, but I won't go through all these. Okay.
Right.
What's your coaching philosophy?
My coaching philosophy
In a paragraph form rather
in a
than
paragraph form.
yes.
I think play hard, play together. Always do your best. How's that?
That's good. I like that. What's your favorite brand of basketball? Like the ball you actually play with, the round circular thing.
I am a snob. I almost won't play with anything except for a Wilson Evolution.
Wilson tends to be. We use Spalding, but because the state tournament uses Spalding, so
yeah, Wilson Evolution.
Wilson Evolution. Okay. One word to describe your ideal player.
Ideal. Steph.
Oh yeah, no one's actually no one's actually said that. That's funny.
That's funny.
Okay.
I would say that's a really good question, man. You got some stumpers here. A word that describes sharing the ball. So
okay, I like that.
You're Ivy League guy.
Well, yeah, sharing's good. I like sharing. I just like the easy word sharing. What if you go to one sporting event? What would it be and why?
If I could go to one sporting event, I think I would go to the Final Four. I just love the craziness.
It is pretty crazy.
College hoops. I've had a couple friends that have gone to the Final Fours and taken pictures, and I've been so jealous. So
I took my son last year. It was in Minneapolis. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Yeah. I hadn't been in like 20 years. If you love basketball, you gotta go to a Final Four. It's a zoo. It's literally a zoo, but it's a fun zoo.
And it's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. One skill not being taught in today's game.
I would say closing out, boxing out.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. I feel like I have to teach it, and then it doesn't.
It doesn't resonate. I know. One. Do you have one? Are you superstitious?
Sort of. Yes, I would say.
Do you have one superstition?
Yeah. Well, I have a favorite pair of underwear that I wear in a big game. I have my game draws.
Okay, that works. One thing you do to relax.
I will get lost in a book. I read some of, I love Phil Jackson's books, or sometimes listen to music, meditate.
Okay. One best player you have seen in person.
I saw Michael.
Okay.
I saw Jordan. I saw. We're big Golden State fans, so we try to see Steph every time he comes to town.
Okay. So best player of all time.
And we met Dr. J 2 months ago, right before COVID. Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
I have Dr. J's rookie card.
Ooh, his hands are as big as his screen.
Oh, it's crazy. His hands. So are Michael's. Like that's what those guys don't understand is they can. A ball is like a tennis ball to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Michael, the best player of all time, is that what you said? You think?
I don't know. You watching this documentary and you're kind of recapping, and you're like, if he didn't take that break, he might have won 8 straight, right?
Right.
And that's unheard of. But I just think LeBron. I mean, he's on your team. You're in the finals. He's off your team. You win 10 games.
Right.
Like who else? I think one of my friends. He sent me a post of LeBron's roster when they went to the finals one year, and you're like, those guys aren't even in NBA anymore.
Right, they're not any good. Like, yeah, I know. Michael definitely had guys put around him, so I would give him that. I agree.
What do you think? You think LeBron?
I have to pick Michael because Michael never lost the final. He's 6-0. He never played in a game 7 in the finals. How do you argue with that?
Well, he's also was being covered by Danny Ainge.
That's true.
can
But then
cover
you can go back generation and you can go Larry Bird was being guarded by, it's like you can keep going back. In 30 years, they'll go, look who was guarding LeBron.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, yeah, it's hard to cross compare generations, I think.
It is hard.
I think LeBron needs to win more to be in the discussion.
I agree with that.
He does.
He has to win 2 more at least.
Yeah, he has to win. You got to win. I mean, it's not fair, but that's what the discussion is. You want to be talked about as the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
That's why Bill Russell, I think, is in that discussion because he won like 10 with the Celtics.
I agree.
While Chamberlain maybe was the most dominant, Russell was the winner.
He also had Red Auerbach.
He had coaching at that time when it wasn't the same as it was. Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, if you know hoops, how many teams were in the league in the 60s? There were like 6 teams.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. One thing you do to become a better coach.
I read, I follow, Twitter. I just try to soak up as much knowledge as I can. If I can learn, I've learned so much just by talking with you. If I can learn 1 or 2 things.
The golden nuggets. I refer to them as golden nuggets. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote, I have it here ready for you. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King Jr. That's my favorite quote. My second favorite quote.
I love that. Say that again. I think that's pertinent to what's going on in the world right now.
The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King.
Okay, I'm not getting political on this, but
no.
But look who's leading us. Anyway, next. You should have that tattooed on his arm. If you stop listening to me because of this, I don't care. I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking
this far. If they've listened this far to the podcast, you got them.
I'm not drinking Lysol. Sorry, bud. I'm done. I'm just done being home. I'm done. I want to go back to work.
So this is my second favorite quote.
If Barack was running it, I'd be back at work. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm with you on that. Leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character. But if you must be without one, be without strategy. Norman Schwarzkopf.
I love that. I love that. Okay. I love that one. All right. One word to describe your coaching style.
Direct.
Okay. Best basketball coach of all time.
Mike Krzyzewski.
Okay. One book you'd recommend.
Gold Standard, Mike Krzyzewski.
Okay. And then this is always my last question on my podcast. One thing you would tell your younger self or a young coach.
Make sure you have balance. Build relationships build relationships with everyone, with the other teachers, your players, your parents, the media, and try not to burn bridges. When we were getting good, I started to get a little bit of an ego. That happens, and those are the same people you turn off. The same people are going to try to burn you in the end.
Right. Yeah. So Rome was not built in a day, and yes, it's like you never know who's going to open the next door. My advice I'm giving to my son as he goes off to college is meet a new person every day, build a relationship, one new person every day, one new person, because you never know when that one person's going to be there when your car breaks down on a Saturday night, or that one person's going to help you when times are tough, or you're going to be able to help them. So, I mean, that's, it's one of the 10,000 people you're going to meet in your life.
That's why you go to college, right? That's the main reason you go to college, is to build a network.
I know, it really is. That's part of the reason we're talking gap year. It's like you can't build relationships on Zoom the same way, So, all right, go ahead, Coach.
I was going to ask, what would you tell your younger self? You've won all the state championships.
I would tell my younger self that you don't know everything, and as you get older, you'll know less. So find a mentor is what I mean. I've had great mentors, so I would do that. I would find great mentors, and I would always keep learning. I mean, I love learning, obviously. I would go to school full time if I could afford it, because I just like learning. But I think I know less now than, I mean, shoot, in my 20s, I think I knew everything in my coaching career even, and I know now
That
I'm like
age.
older and I don't know crap.
Well,
Like,
you can accept it. You can accept that. Okay.
right. Yeah. And it's like, well, and if I don't ever coach another basketball game, I'm okay.
Mhm.
Whatever. I'll go fishing.
Mhm.
Whatever. I mean, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a age teaches you that a little bit, I think. So that's what I would tell myself. It's like, it's not life and death when you lose.
Mhm.
Um, and
It was death when we were younger, huh? When you
oh, it
lost.
was horrible. It was horrible. It was like, it was horrible. When I lost my first state championship, Wesley was a junior. He broke his hand in the state semifinals. We lost in the
Wow.
finals. We were undefeated. I
Oh, how did he break his hand? He fall on it?
he did. He fell on it, and no one and everyone kind of hid it from me.
He continued to play?
He played in the finals and had like 9 turnovers. So in retro, like that wouldn't happen now because I would find out what's going on. I'd use him as a decoy. I would do things differently now. So I always feel bad for that 04 team because I feel like I wasn't the coach I am now, that we should have won that year. So yeah, those losses that I think because I never knew if I was going to go back. I was at the state
Was
championship.
it? That was the show.
I thought, and I was a show, and we were in the championship, and we could have won it. And you go home in second place. It's like I was talking to a coach the other day about it. It's like I can't imagine how bad Hillary Clinton feels. Like you're that close, or Romney lose. I mean, when you are the second choice to be the most powerful person in the world, and then one night you lose it, it's got to be horrible. Like
It's humbling.
yeah, it's humbling. It's like so. I don't. If that happened to me now, I would be obviously sad about it, but it wouldn't be like. I mean, I don't even know why my wife didn't kick me out of the house. I swear to God. Luckily, I had young kids, and young kids didn't care.
They don't care.
They didn't care that Dad was a basketball coach. They were like, "Geez, that would have been, yeah, true." And Emma was, yeah, they were little things, so they just were happy I was home. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I would tell my younger self. It's okay. It'll be okay. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate you being on.
Thank you so much. This was fun. A lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Hey, Coach. Hope you enjoyed the video. I love walking in my empty gym here with my shooting machine in the background. Let me know how I can help. Subscribe and like. If you're looking to take your coaching to the next level, if you're looking to maybe put some of these pictures on the wall, let me help you. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Thanks for watching.